If you don't have a place to call home and if you don't have a safe environment where your children are being raised, everything else is in flux.
Home Funders began as a conversation.
Home Funders started actually about 10 years ago.
And it was initiated by the Highland Street Foundation and the McGrath family, and they wanted to do more. They wanted to do something about family homelessness, and they didn't really know what they wanted to do.
The trustees came together with some other family foundations and said, really wanted to come up with something to address the housing crisis, the affordable housing crisis.
So they brought a group of us together. We just learned together. We brought in people to come and talk to us.
What came to be was the idea of creating this pool loan fund and coming together and having these dollars available to work with developers and government to create more units of affordable housing.
Home Funders was created to address the unprecedented crisis in affordable housing in Massachusetts. By bringing together numerous foundations and other investors, Home Funders has raised over $21 million to lend to affordable housing projects, with a stipulation that 20% of the units would be for extremely low-income families. An example is Amory Residences in Boston.
So this is Amory Residences, which is a 64-unit affordable housing development.
Crystal Cornegay is the president and CEO of Urban Edge, a community development corporation.
This was the site of a car wash, actually. There was a car wash here.
Urban Edge is one of the many nonprofit developers that's utilized Home Funders financing.
When we opened Amory Residences, we had about 1,500 applications for 64 units. If you're a single parent, you got 2 kids and you make $34,000, you can't find a place to live in the marketplace. You have to live in affordable housing. And rather than demonize the person who has a job that makes $34,000, why don't we create a system where they can actually find a decent place to live?
Another development in Roxbury that utilized Home Funders financing is the Thomas Atkins Apartments. Cornelius Hood is a resident there.
I have a beautiful daughter, 7 years old, Kyla, a beautiful daughter, Terry, 4 years old, and a beautiful wife, Malika, Miss Malika Hood.
Cornelius has quite a past.
I've been shot, I've been incarcerated, I ended up being an addict for 10 years on and off. And then when I got out in 2002 from going back and forth to jail on and off, I got my life together.
Like many families in Cornelius' situation, he's lived in many places, but not all good ones.
We went to the hotel first. From there we went to Irma Street, where my wife used to always say, "Why someone get killed in front of this building?" And then someone got shot in the head. I looked out my window, thought it was a firecracker. It was a young kid laying on the ground. From Irma Street we went to Talbot Ave, and then God blessed us with this.
Now living in a safe, affordable apartment, Cornelius focuses on giving back.
I work also with young kids on drugs, and we try to prevent them from going through the things that we went through and get their lives back together.
More affordable housing built with the help of Home Funders has touched the lives of Carmen Maldonado and her 2 daughters in Salem.
Yo tenía una relación.
I was in a relationship that came to an end, and then I found myself living in a shelter.
Estar en el shelter.
From the shelter, Carmen and her family moved to a hotel in Danvers for 6 months. Life was hard on all of them.
Cuando yo vivía allá en Denver,
When we lived in the hotel, I had to drive my kids to school in Lynn every day, which meant early mornings and long afternoons. The kids were always tired. I was always tired. It was tough. My daughter came down with asthma from moisture in the carpets, so we were moved to a site in Beverly.
Like Cornelius, Carmen and her family moved around, starting with a half year in the Danvers Hotel, then a year at the Beverly site, and then finally settling down here in Salem, where their lives have now taken a turn in the right direction.
pero hoy
Today, the school is 5 minutes away. The kids get more sleep, and they love it here, always playing and running around the house. And I'm now working with seniors in the area, helping them get around. It's all good.
todo.
Our last family lives in Northampton, where Bethsaida Cabrera shares her story.
6 years ago, my husband, he lost his job, and we had to sell everything because we doesn't have a job or a money to pay the house, to make payments.
Bethsaida, her husband, and their 3 children moved in with her brother in Springfield, Massachusetts, into his attic. And how was that?
Really, really hard. We was 5 in a little attic, and in the summer it was really, really hot. In December was really, really cold. I love this apartment. I love to be here with my family. I love Northampton. I love schools here. This is that we was looking for.
We've achieved a lot. We've shown that there's interest and demand in creating this housing.
Almost 2,400 units have been created. Almost a third of them, actually more than a third of them, are for extremely low-income families.
We are strong partners with the public sector, and I think that's another achievement and success. We've shown that private philanthropy can work really closely with the public sector to have real results.
It's great to say we're here to help. We're here to partner with you, and so there, things are. You're not making the case to convince anyone to do this. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone is ready and wants to do this. It's a matter of, okay, how do we do it, and let's do it now.
And there's still a lot to do. In 2009, over 200,000 low-income renter households in Massachusetts were paying over 50% of their income on housing costs. 48,000 of those households had children, and over 150,000 were extremely low-income families. And in January of 2012, there were 3,596 homeless families living in shelters, hotels, and motels across the state. The need is great, and Home Funders continues to reach out to investors, developers, and the public sector to build the stock of deeply affordable housing in Massachusetts.
To me, affordable housing builds strong families. When you have strong families, you have strong neighborhoods. So that young person in that family has the opportunity to have a decent place to live. So that's why as Home Funders Group, I support them 1,000%. Because they get the job done.